All right, let's dive right in. There's a huge geopolitical chess game playing out in South Asia right now, and today we're breaking down an analysis that says India is making some seriously bold moves that are completely reshaping its ties with Afghanistan and could leave Pakistan in a major strategic bind.
A seismic shift. I mean, that's a powerful way to put it, and it comes straight from our source material. It really sets the stage for a story about changing friendships, high-stakes economics, and a very calculated play for influence in the region. So let's unpack what this seismic shift actually looks like on the ground.
So the core idea in this analysis is really simple. Afghanistan is pivoting, and it's pivoting hard. For decades, Pakistan was its main gateway to the rest of the world, but now that's changing. The flow of trade, of diplomacy, of strategy, it's all being deliberately redirected away from Pakistan and straight towards India. So how exactly do you do that? Well, the first big piece of the puzzle, according to our source, is all about money and logistics. It's a very calculated plan to give Afghanistan economic independence by, well, completely sidelining its neighbor. And when you put the old way next to the new way, the difference is just night and day. The old routes through Pakistan meant that Afghanistan's entire economy was basically a bargaining chip for Islamabad. But these new routes, built with India's help, they offer freedom, direct access to global markets, and this is the big one, reliability. Let's look at the two key parts of this bypass. First up, you've got the air corridor. This is kind of the immediate fix. By flying goods directly between big cities in India and Afghanistan, they literally just leapfrog over Pakistani territory. And this isn't just symbolic. It allows real, valuable goods, think pharmaceuticals and machinery from India and fresh fruit and minerals from Afghanistan, to be traded without anyone getting in the way. But the real long-term game changer, the move that our source calls the Checkmate, is the Chabahar port in Iran. India has poured a ton of investment into developing this port. Why? Because it gives landlocked Afghanistan the one thing it's always desperately needed, a reliable path to the sea that has nothing to do with Pakistan's Karachi port. This is the key to true economic freedom. Okay, so this brings up a really important question. Why is India investing so much time, money, and energy into this relationship? Well, that brings us to the second pillar of this strategy, and it's basically a massive quid-pro-quo.
$1 trillion. Yeah, you heard that right. That is the estimated value of all the untapped mineral resources just sitting under the ground in Afghanistan. And that mind-boggling number, that's the ultimate prize. That's the core reason for India's deep involvement.
And we're not just talking about old-school resources like copper and iron, even though there's a ton of that. The real treasure here, the thing that could change everything, is the huge, unexplored deposits of minerals that are absolutely critical for modern technology. We're talking about lithium. Afghanistan might have the biggest reserves in the world, and all those rare earths that power everything from your smartphone to electric cars. So you see the quid pro quo, right? It's a classic deal. India provides the investment, builds the infrastructure, and opens up these new trade routes. And in return, it hopes to get first dibs on the strategic resources it desperately needs to fuel its own future. It's a very straightforward exchange, a favor for a favor. So you can see the logic for India playing out in 4 clear steps. Step 1, invest in Afghanistan's mining industry. Step 2, lock down a steady supply of those critical minerals. Step 3, use those minerals to supercharge its own domestic tech sector, for things like electric vehicles and semiconductors. And the final huge strategic goal, to push back against China's almost total control over the global mineral supply chain.
Now let's get to the third and, according to the analysis, the most confrontational piece of this entire geopolitical puzzle. This move takes the competition beyond just economics and resources and into a nation's most vital lifeline, its water.
It sounds like something out of a spy movie, doesn't it? Can you actually weaponize a river? Well, in this high-stakes game of chess, the analysis we're looking at suggests the answer is a clear and simple yes. So take a look at this. The whole plan centers on the Kunar River. It starts in Afghanistan and flows directly into Pakistan, where it's a critical source of water. The project being discussed would involve Afghanistan building a huge dam on its side of the border, likely with technical and maybe even financial backing from India. The impact of this would just be immense. It would basically give Afghanistan a tap that controls the water flowing into Pakistan, which is a direct threat to its already struggling agricultural sector. This creates an unbelievably powerful non-military leverage point over Islamabad. It's the kind of move that could be a checkmate in any future conflict. All right, so we've looked at the 3 big strategies: trade,
minerals, and water. So how does the final scorecard look, according to this analysis? Let's tally up the wins and losses here.
Let's just break this scoreboard down. On trade, India becomes the essential economic lifeline for Afghanistan, while Pakistan loses its main point of leverage in transit fees. When it comes to resources, India is securing a strategic supply for its future, pushing Pakistan further behind. And in water diplomacy, India gains a powerful pressure point, while Pakistan faces a very real threat to its water and food supply.
So the ultimate takeaway from the source material is this. What we're seeing is the result of a very patient, very deliberate, multi-pronged strategy from India. By positioning itself as a reliable partner, India isn't just boosting its own influence, it's actively isolating Pakistan and fundamentally redrawing the region's entire balance of power.
And that really leaves us with one final, crucial question to think about. Does this huge realignment signal the start of a new, more stable era for the region, one that's built on economic partnership? Or are these just the opening moves in a much more complex and potentially much more dangerous geopolitical game? It's a lot to consider.